For our discussion on the fundamentalist modernist controversy, we're going to be talking about a man that Dr. Schultz brought up in one of his video presentations, J. Gresham Machen. We're going to go back to 1922 when Harry beginning of this liberal progressive Christianity that will accept Darwinism. The Bible is not always accurate, and we'll call this the progressive Christianity social gospel stuff. And so there's a man named J. Gresham Machen who was part of the Presbyterian Church that did not take well to this idea that the Bible is not always correct. And so this is where this controversy begins. He's also going to write an article refuting this, which we'll get to. But he had a student. In 1924, there's a young man named Charles Woodbridge that attends Princeton University. He goes on to become a very close friend of Dr. Machen. And also he was one of the lawyers that defended him in his trial. And so we're going to talk about some of the observations from the letters back and forth between Machen and Woodbridge. His son wrote an article dealing with some of the lessons that were learned from this. One of the lessons we find out from these articles, or from these letters that were written between the two, is that a lot of the students at Princeton University from that time period, 1924, 1927, weren't aware of this argument between the administration and Machen over this fundamental principles and modernist ideas. Also, another letter of Machen is he was attacked quite often by quite a few critics. Generally, though, he refrained from attacking back. Again, I think reflecting his personality and what he thought about how Jesus would react to other people. So he refrained from doing these attacks. Again, he was, a lot of people thought that the ones who were tolerant was the way to go in modernist beliefs. Machen would say that the people who wanted to be tolerant were worse than these atheists that didn't believe in God at all, because they would allow some people to leave and believe what they said. Machen did value a first-class education. He was not one to shy away from a high level of learning that you would find in places like Princeton. He even wanted the students to look at articles written by opponents. Again, it's interesting that Machen did not like this label of fundamentalist. He thought that when you hear fundamentalism, it kind of seems like you're starting something new. And he says all we're doing as a fundamentalist is maintaining historic Christian faith. He had a few articles that he wrote about this that I learned from. What fundamentalism stands for now is where he basically says we want to get back to traditional historic Christian faith and some of the main principles. Another article, does fundamentalism obstruct social progress? A lot of the modernists were going to take this idea and promote a social gospel away from the true gospel that Machen wanted to preach. He wanted to push in this idea of the supernatural Christianity versus the modernists and their social gospel. People talk about the divisions that would spring from Machen's ideas and fundamentalists in general. But again, like we learned in some of our lectures and our reading, that there was also a uniting standpoint around fundamentalism. This gives us some principles for all people who want to go back to the basic fundamentals of the Bible, gives them something to stand with. So he had fellowship with quite a few other denominations, Lutheran for sure, in the Missouri Synod and things like this, and other Catholic groups, where he said, hey, we have a precious fellowship with these denominations. He had an incredibly high view of biblical authority. And here's one of his quotes: when the Bible is no longer thought to be inerrant, the word of man is exalted above the word of God. Another quote from him: we must not allow anything to stand between us and Christ. No council, no presbytery, no synod, no general assembly. He wanted folks to be faithful to the Lord no matter the cost. And again, he would get kicked out and start a new church that we learned in our videos earlier. So I'm going to close by reading his favorite hymn, and this is a great one. Were the whole realm of nature mine, that were a present far too small. Love so amazing, so divine, demands my soul, my life, my all. What a great anchor and example to all the folks who are evangelical fundamentals and would like to see this continue into our modern history. Thank you.